All right, my name's Nathaniel, and I'm a coffee addict. Yes, I am. I usually drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day, only because it's fun for me, and I must have a cup of coffee before school every single morning. I must. It once got to a point where I was driving myself to Starbucks every single morning to pick up a venti, iced, or hot white chocolate mocha. It got so bad that literally my card would decline when I would go to Starbucks. Not because I'm also a shopaholic, but because I was also going to Starbucks every other morning. I went to check my bank statements, and literally every other transaction was from Starbucks. Something had to change because I was going broke drinking coffee. So I asked my mom one night to teach me how to use a coffee machine and make my own coffee, since I had never learned, and I was just fine with paying $5 for it every single day. So she taught me, and ever since then, I've made all my own coffee in the mornings before school, and I haven't spent a dime this whole semester. 45% of Americans over the age of 18, according to Harvard's School of Medicine, drink coffee every single day. That's half our population. Now, us college students don't have time, or so we think, in the morning to make ourselves coffee, so we go to the cafeteria or we go to Starbucks and we pay for coffee. Well, all that money adds up, and all that money could be spent towards something new, like, buying a book for a class that we all know is really expensive, or making a car payment, or paying for the prices of gas that just seem to keep rising and rising. Money spent on coffee adds up. Also, if you made your own coffee at home, you would be spending so much more, reducing your chances of being late to class or late to work, running to get that cup of coffee before, and you would have already drank it at home and made it at home. So in this speech, I will teach you how to make coffee at home. First, I will demonstrate on how to pick out the right materials to make coffee at home. Second, I will show you how to utilize the materials to make coffee at home. And third, I will show you some ways to serve yourself some coffee at home. So first, when you're shopping for materials to make your own coffee, keep in mind that you need to have an easy-for-you-to-use coffee maker. I know some of you are cheaters in here and use Keurig, which is just that little packet of coffee that you press and it goes right in your coffee. But today we're going to use a cool drip machine that's fine. So it'll drip into this pot. Second, keep in mind your favorite drink when you're purchasing, flavoring for your coffee. If you're somebody who likes a really good flavored drink, like I do, get some creamer that's, flavored. I chose International Delight, that's Hershey's Chocolate Caramel. How could you go wrong with that? And this probably cost me $4 at the store, which is just as much as the coffee I was buying, but this will last you like 2 weeks. Also, when you're buying coffee beans, make sure that they're already ground up, unless you have a grinder at home. If you buy your coffee beans, Kelly is not my choice of coffee, by the way. If you're buying your coffee beans at Starbucks or Coffee Bean, and they're not pre-ground, you can always ask the baristas to grind them for you. It's free of charge and usually really happy to do it. So let's get started. First, you're going to place your coffee beans that have been ground up in one of these coffee filters that are dirt cheap at the store. And you're going to place it in the dripper of your drip coffee machine. You don't have to pour a lot if you're just making a cup for yourself, but me being an addict, I do like to pour a lot. It should equal, or at least somewhat equal, the amount of water that you're going to put in your actual pot. So when you're done with this, you're just going to put it on the top of your machine, make sure it's secure. Now, when you're filling this up with water to put into the machine, make sure that it equals the same amount of coffee that you want to drink. This measures by 2, 4, 6, and 8, and 10. But if you want just 1 cup for yourself, just put 2, because this isn't 2 mugs of coffee, it's 2 serving sizes of coffee. So for this demonstration, I usually like to put 4 or 6. We're just going to do 2. So when you're done with that, you're going to put it into the back of your machine, this little vent. And when we turn this machine on, the water is going to go up this reservoir and into the dripper. It's going to soak all of the coffee beans and come down into the pot. And now for the third and most difficult part, you're going to turn it on. So this should take about 3 to 5 minutes to make. And in this time in the morning, you could be taking a shower, you could be getting ready while your coffee is dripping. And it will save you so much time before school or work. So while this drips, I'm going to share with you guys a brief history of coffee that I've found on some really good websites. So the legend of coffee is supposed to come from Ethiopia, from this man named Kaldi, who was a goat herd. He once took his goats out at night, and he noticed that his goats would not go to sleep. He noticed that the goats were eating this bean that would keep them awake for hours and hours and hours. And so he decided to take the bean and take it to the abbot of his monastery. The abbot of his monastery took all the beans and ground them up and made them into a drink. And he found that he could stay awake during the long hours of prayer that night. So everybody in the monastery started drinking this mysterious bean and were able to stay awake for many, many hours. The word spread all the way to Arabia, where the Arabs were the first to cultivate and to trade the coffee bean. And also in Arabia, people drank it so much because the Quran forbade them to drink alcohol. So they found that the effects of coffee and the stimulants of coffee were kind of like a, hey, we can do this but not that kind of thing. So they took up drinking coffee. They also started cafe khanes, which were the coffee shops in their day, where they would go to socialize, watch performers perform, share the news of the day. So the Arabs basically invented Starbucks, loosely put. After that, it spread to 17th century Europe, where they thought that the coffee bean was the bitter invention of the devil. They also spread to the new world of, Europe, and it became really popular in the Caribbean and moved to Brazil, and now we all drink coffee. All right, so it looks like it's about done, almost. And since we're kind of pressed for time, we're just going to cheat a little bit. All right. When your coffee is done, pour it in your favorite mug. Okay, this isn't working. My favorite mug is this mug with the painting by the artist Edgar Degas. I love coffee. All right. So your coffee mug is full. But you don't want to make it too full when you're adding all your extra ingredients. You want to just leave a little bit of allowance at the top so that when you add your creamer and your milk or whatever you add, it won't overflow in the cup. So you can add your creamer, sugar, whatever you want. If you're boring, take it black. But if you're like me and you want flavor, add some really good creamer to it. My mom always jokes with me because I put a ton of creamer in it. She always says, "Would you like some coffee with your creamer?" And with lack of spoon, we're just going to mix it up. There you go. You've got your pot of coffee. So, in this speech, I've demonstrated some really good things to keep in mind when you're purchasing things to make your coffee with. I've showed you how to use some things and this really cool, almost vintage, drip machine. And I've also showed you some really cool ways to make your cup of coffee for yourself in the morning. So yes, I am still a coffee addict. Even though I lose money drinking coffee, I don't care because it's good. And now you can make your own coffee at home and save so much more time and money instead of going to Starbucks or Coffee Bean or the cafeteria, which the coffee isn't really that good anyways there, in the morning, and make your own cup of coffee. So, thank you.